What's up, guys? Aquarium Conversations back here again with another quick video. Just want to do a real quick update on this 20-gallon long that's been set up in my bedroom for probably about a month now. I want to talk about just the kind of layout, some of the plants, some of the changes I've made, some of the things I've run into, and just do a kind of brief update real quick. First off, I've set up to have it look like a essentially, a riverbed where I've got the plants on the one side and everything kind of sloping down this way into darkness. This idea this is the idea that I was going for and was trying to lay out from the beginning. I found the larger river rocks here in combination with the bed of sand and the smaller rocks. Also, part of the escape, I used a large piece of manzanita driftwood. That had some challenges too. I was not, well, let me say this was my first time using manzanita wood in Escape. I was not aware that there essentially is an outer layer that needs to essentially be peeled off, or eventually, I'm assuming over time it will maybe decay and fall off, but that was a bit to handle, to say the least. I had the piece of wood soaking for what I thought was a pretty substantial amount of time to get rid of any tannins or anything like that, but I was unaware that there was essentially a layer of bark that had to be peeled off. And once that was peeled off, then your wood would essentially begin to absorb water and sink. So that was a challenge in itself. Really been kind of as far as plants, keeping it simple. I've got some ferns up front, some different kind of ferns. I found these ferns at my local pet store. I have to find out the name because I really like the way they look and the texture they have. If anyone knows the name of that fern, please let me know. I've got some of the El Nino fern here in the back. And again, just keeping it simple. I've got some Anubias plants in there, a bunch of pieces of Anubias. And then here in the middle, got some Crypts borealis back here, a couple pieces of Anacharis that I'm hoping will grow out and start to kind of fall off into this way into the scape. Some taller stem plants back here, the creeping Charlie, which I have in some other tanks, and it's really doing well. So I'm hoping to have success in this tank as well. When I first set it up, I had some black phantom tetras in here, and for whatever reason they didn't work out. Took those back to the pet store, and I wanted to make some changes to my 16-gallon bow front. And as you saw in the last video, I got those bloodfin tetras. So in order to make room for those tetras, I had to rehouse and rehome these Buenos Aires tetras, which I absolutely love. For those of you who aren't aware of these fish, I highly recommend them. They're colorful, they're active, as you can see. They get to a really good size. I think I have some of them in here that are maybe pushing 3 inches. They're not aggressive. They're not aggressive, excuse me. Pretty peaceful, but all in all, just a great fish. Very, very tolerable to, water changes and different water temperatures and parameters and things like that. So I highly recommend that fish. Also, another change that I made, well, not really change, just maybe an addition, is this floodlight on top of the tank, which is the only light I'm using right now. And I thought it would give this tank a real unique look, which it has, which essentially has, the side with the plant is illuminated. Then you have the darker shadows in here right there, and the back where the fish, can swim to and get a sense of security. Also, it kind of gives, this real nice contrast to the tank, which again was part of my initial envision of this riverbed design or escape, whatever you want to call it. But this floodlight I've had for maybe close to 2 years. I bought them on Amazon when I first got into keeping fish, and it just popped in my head one day that I had this floodlight and I wanted to try it and see what it looked like. And in my opinion, it looks absolutely awesome. This isn't a plug or an ad for this particular floodlight. I don't know who makes it, or I think I paid about $10 for it. But what's really cool is, it has the RGB spectrum, and for those of you who are into plant keeping and growing plants, the benefits of having a light with the full RGB spectrum. It also comes, let's see, I'll move up here so you can see, it also comes with a remote, so I can control the brightness, and I can put more red or green or blues into it depending on how I feel. Right now this is just on its pretty much basic white setting, but you can see that there is a little bit of greens and blues coming through. So really looking forward to seeing what type of growth and response from the plants I get from this particular light. Another change I made is I had a sponge filter back in this corner. I took that out, and now I'm using two of the Ovation internal or submersible filters. Those have always worked well for me. Picked them up at my local plant store. I believe they're both rated between a 15 and 20 gallon tank, so I got two of them, so I have more than enough filtration in here. But really, that's all I got for you guys. That's really the kind of updates I wanted to give. I wanted to make it short and sweet. To sum it up, really enjoying this tank. I love the way it looks. I love the way it's starting to kind of fill in and mature. Love the fish. Can't talk enough about these tetras and the activity. You can see how active they are in the video. They're not shy. They get to a really good size. They're colorful. So I highly recommend those. And, let me know what you guys think. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. I always look forward to reading those. But as always, I will talk to you guys down the road. Bye.